Have you seen this? Bitcoin has been trading sideways for over 2 entire weeks. But do you know what this means? And is Bitcoin in store for another massive drop that will send the Moon Boys into a complete psychosis and depression, the likes of which we have never seen? And did you know that the last time that this happened, the biggest move in Bitcoin's history has always happened? But one metric is flashing urgently right now, showing that Bitcoin is overdue for a pump of a lifetime. Make sure to watch the middle of this video, because the evidence that we have is undeniable, insane, and completely bananas. I'm your host, Chris Dingle, and if you've been looking at Bitcoin and altcoin and the charts, wondering when will the big move finally come, when will Bitcoin pump, and when will my parents tell me they're proud of me again, then this is the video for you. So if you get into the channel, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, turn those ghost notifications to never miss these absolutely time-sensitive, groundbreaking, mind-melting webisodes. And as well, if you guys are interested in any bonuses or deals, securing your crypto, getting altcoins, excellent trade bonuses as well, make sure to check all of the fantastic links pinned in the comments and in the description as well. I have one Twitter and one Instagram, and they are both in the description. If it's not in the description of this video, then it's not my account. And without any further ado, let's get dumped on. Now, this is what I'm talking about, as Bitcoin right now defends this insane support that we've built up over the past year and a half. Here we are on 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks of trading exactly at this level. And folks, I'll tell you one thing. Bitcoin doesn't trade in the exact same range at this tight of a level, this sideways, for long, without a massive pumpathon or dumpathon. So expect increased volatility. And with this massive wick that we've seen over the past few weeks, with this massive increase in volume, we've seen the bullish divergence even shape up on this long-term daily chart. With all of that, is it possible that the next move sees Bitcoin not only recapture 30,000, but potentially all the way up to 33 to 34,000 US dollars, at which point it will become make or break for Bitcoin's price? And with the DXY, after receiving a multi-week downtrend, nearly 2 weeks after topping out right at about right underneath 105 on the DXY, again the highest it's been in 2 decades, the DXY falling below the 21-day moving average and potentially coming into contact very soon with this 50-day moving average all the way down at 101.2, just a little itsy bitsy below, where only about 0.5 below where it currently was yesterday. This is gigantic, because what I fully expect is possible for the DXY over the next week is, yes, upside potentially coming up to this 21-day moving average at around 103.4 this second, so a full 2 points above where it's at currently. Although, if it would get rejected there, absolutely coming back down to retest that 50-day, at which point, if we fail there, then the Moon Boys are in luck. And that's really the story that I think is most important right now. Past 2 weeks, DXY has not been doing good. This gives the Bitcoiners a chance, the stock market boys even, a chance at getting some gains. However, again, this is potentially the beginning of a long-term reversal for the DXY, but it's still way too early to say 100% that that's what it is. But these are the very, very, very earliest first signs that that is a possibility. And again, what I think is most likely here is not necessarily coming right down to this 50-day first, but in fact getting a little baby bounce first, at which point if we get rejected here and setting a lower high, absolutely greenlighting then the DXY to initiate further dumpage. And that's exactly what I'm going to be watching for over the rest of this month and going into June specifically. It's just insanely big. Again, maybe potentially giving the SPX or the stock market some juice as well. As it has been bloodied and bashed for the past, the entire year so far. Remember, it topped out literally like the very beginning of 2022. That's where it hit a new all-time high, and it's been straight dumpathons since then. But are we looking for the DXY to set something very similar to this, with a high here and a lower high? And you know what happens when we set that second lower high very often is we see massive dumpage, right? This was our lower high. This was our high, lower high here. And then after we set that lower high, basically just straight catapulted to the downside, putting in, 20% downside dumpiness in just a matter of days. So is that what we're going to see here for the DXY? And before we get back into Bitcoin as well, the Bitcoin dominance chart, a lot of people are saying, yes, Bitcoin's going to head all the way back up to, maybe 60% dominance or something like that. Currently it's at 45%. But I really think, again, this last bull blast that we saw over the past 2 years was fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your view, heavily because of altcoins. I mean, it was basically altcoins. Bitcoin obviously getting the narrative of like continued adoption, even for pizza's sake, JP Morgan becoming mega bullish, which we're going to be talking about in a second here. But NFTs, Ethereum, and then a lot of other layer 1s, layer 2s, a lot of other things besides Bitcoin are taking up the limelight, which again, I think the long-term trend, at least for right now, and I think this is kind of unfortunate, I still think that the altcoins have a huge role to play. I like Bitcoin and I like a very select few amount of altcoins, but 99% of altcoins are complete garbage and scams, most of them. There's thousands of altcoins, and there shouldn't be. There should not be. There's 0% chance that all of those other coins hold a lot of value. I think it's only a select few. But unfortunately, as long as Baby Doge, Inu, Baby Doggy Coin, and all of that exists, a lot of interest and a lot of attention, a lot of capital floods into these projects because getting rich quick will always be more attractive than, unfortunately, the benefits that a true decentralized currency like Bitcoin can bring. Or it will always be more attractive at first. It'll always be more attractive to people, I guess, the less educated they are. But with that, the whole point of what I was saying here is that I would love to see Bitcoin dominance reclaim 55, even 60%. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And the only way I think that would be the only way I think that will happen is if we have prolonged bearishness for at least another year. Okay, so if you think Bitcoin can turn around and get a nice bounce over the next few months, or you think Bitcoin is just going to dump for the next year, I think that it's more likely that Bitcoin will reach higher dominance just the longer we're in a bear market. So yeah, if you're kind of bullish on Bitcoin, then I would not expect Bitcoin, or if you're bullish on crypto as a whole, I would not expect Bitcoin dominance to be increasing a bunch here. But as well, before we jump back into the charts, a few things. JP Morgan actually backing Bitcoin to rise about 30% and says cryptos are now its preferred alternative asset. This is a little troubling to me as you know, JP Morgan hated Bitcoin just a few years ago. Publishing, coming out and saying something like this makes me think, are they trying to get people bullish on Bitcoin right now and then somehow try to manipulate another dump, right? Because it's very seldom that news articles, especially from one of the top banker boys in the world, would be good for the people that they're putting an article out for. But yeah, they said it thought Bitcoin's fair price was 30% higher than where it currently is, around 30K. And it said today that cryptos has overtaken real estate as one of its preferred alternative assets that don't fall into typical categories such as stocks and bonds. The past month's crypto market correction looks more like capitulation relative to last January and February, and going forward we see upside for Bitcoin and crypto markets more generally. Bank strategist Nicholas Panagurtskalo wrote in the note. JP Morgan said the sell-off had hurt cryptos more than other alternatives such as private equity, private debt, and real estate, and suggests there's more room for cryptos to rebound. Basically saying crypto is more volatile. That's absolutely true. I mean, that's kind of objectively the case, not even opinion. But then as well, Bitcoin finally due for a $33,000 price bounce as long-term Bitcoin price metrics flash oversold. That is absolutely the case. But basically holding at this $29,000 level after this massive capitulation wick after a giant amount of volume, I think it's very likely, that we do see this move to the upside. And remember, the fear and greed index as at down here, it's been, I mean, we're right now at the fear and greed index, exactly where every Bitcoin bottom has happened before at least some bounce. Even if it wasn't a bearish trend, we have always seen bounces when we get this low. And you can see this is all the way back to the beginning of the fear and greed index history. Back at the very beginning of 2018, it's basically as low as it has gone, down to the 8s. It's down in single digits. 1 out of 100, only 0 through 9 are single digits, and we've been in single digits. At this very second, we're at 11. Again, yesterday it was about a 12. Last week it was a 12. Last month it was a 23. We've been in extreme fear for a very, very, very long time. The market is extremely fearful, and we have not been very high on the fear and greed in a very long time. We've been trending to the downside for a very long amount of time, since last summer. Most of the trending fear and greed data over the past year has been below like 40, below like 30, just very, very low. So that's just very important. But yeah, with Bitcoin trending down here at the bottom, this legacy support, this green line you see here, has shown all major bounces for Bitcoin. And again, we did dip our toes below this, but as expected, of course, we got at least a wick there. But now the question is, there's only two things that can happen now. We either get complete capitulation, which if we revisit, if we would set a lower low here, my goodness, I don't know how we wouldn't see some sort of bounce, even if it is a longer term downtrend. Or I think what's more likely is over the next, I mean, really time frame is anyone's guess. I think sooner than later, we have to at least see some bounce above 30K concretely, because we've been barely dipping our tip above 30, 31 at the very most. But other than that, it's just been straight carnage. And especially if the DXY over this next week continues, especially if it gets rejected at the 21-day, I just don't see how Bitcoin doesn't get a bigger bounce. So you get a new channel, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, turn on those ghost notifications to never miss these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. As well, if you guys are interested in any great bonuses for trading, for getting altcoins, for securing your crypto, joining our ADA stake pool to earn rewards, absolutely, that's exactly what I'm doing with my ADA. I'm still heavily invested in crypto, right? I barely keep any money not in crypto, which some people might see as a mistake. But again, I'm long-term invested. I did the same thing back in 2017, 2018. It ended up working out. But it does require patience, absolutely. But as well, yeah, any bonuses, if you're interested in trading, longing or shorting the market, if you're interested in just getting altcoins, stacking altcoins, I tweeted today about, what is one coin? I'll just pull it up here real quick. If Bitcoin bottomed tomorrow and the entire altcoin space basically went up from here on out, which teensy-weensy little altcoin would you be investing in for the biggest gains? Remember, if there's one single play that can make you the most amount of money in crypto, it's getting into a very low altcoin at the bottom of a bear market or a bottom of a bear trend and then riding it, tens, hundreds, thousands of percents to the upside. Now, obviously, that's incredibly risky. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But also that means you could, if you don't pick a good project that's going to pump a lot, then obviously you won't make those gains. But I just basically asked, what alt would it be for you? And I was enjoying reading responses. Yeah, leave them in the comments or respond to this tweet if you have an altcoin. I'm very curious because again, these are the opportunities. People are hunting for those low cap. Well, pretty much everything's low cap right now because it's in a bearish trend, but those low cap opportunities to where people are going to be funneling money into, just pumping their money into as it's at all-time highs. This, though, is the time where the true opportunity is. When nobody's paying attention, engagement is record low, and that's what we do see. So without any further ado, that's it for me.